This is a review of Survivor Season 28, Cagayan, Episode 10. We are at the final 7 in this episode. Pretty exciting episode title, Chaos is My Friend. We're going to give it a new title, Richie and I. Richie, welcome back.
Welcome. Thank you.
We're going to do stock up, stock down, and we're also going to do a little Survivor press conference, as always. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. This has been a blast going through this season, and yeah, now, as you get to the final 6, final 7, this is when you're like, oh man, it's exciting, but you're also like, oh, it's almost over too.
Yeah.
But
I feel like you get to this 17, you're like, how are some of these people like still in it?
correct. Yeah. We definitely have that going on here. The fallout from the last episode, Spencer had misplayed his idol, and he comes back to camp, and happened to him a bunch of times. As good of a player as we say he is, he gets either bad luck or duped quite a bit. And yeah, he Cass saying that she knew he had an idol, which did answer the question, why did they not vote him?
Yeah.
Instead of Jeremiah, they must have thought he had the idol, which, yeah, it makes sense. They were all scrambling for it that one day, and then, no one really said anything, or at least we didn't see that.
Great line from her too. She says, "What is the most selfish beast? A college male."
yeah, which is hilarious. And she's like, yeah, and of course he played for himself.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting there from Cass. She must have been hurt when she was in college by a 21-year-old male or something like that. Man, I don't know what that could be. And yeah, right from there we get up in the morning, get tree mail, then it's time for the Survivor auction. How do you feel about the auction overall? Do you think it should be in every season?
I feel like it should be in every season for sure. I liked actually how they did it in one of the new era seasons when they kind of had to go scramble for like money or
Cash,
whatever. Yeah. I liked how they did that.
yeah,
I kind of wish they were longer. Like I feel
right.
like as the seasons have progressed, they've gotten shorter and shorter, and there's less and less items.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess they did it here, but sometimes they do gross things too that you buy. I mean, they had a little bowl of rice or whatever.
Yeah, not awful.
But yeah, I think I would guess, and not super Survivor historian here, but this had to be one of the times where they realized that yeah, people were just sitting around waiting for advantages, and it kind of killed the fun, because this wasn't the best Survivor auction that exists. There are some good ones, especially when they bring up letters from home and they're like, you guys, we can all pay for them or whatever. There was a good moment there. And I think they tried to throw in things like that later on to get people a little more motivated, because yeah, if at that point, what is a rack of ribs is going to change your life, but a community idol literally could change your life. And yeah, we see that happen here. We see it all play out, guac, margarita, all the good fixings. Do you think would you be in this old Survivor? Do you see yourself as one of the people who would wait with the 500, or do you think you'd be so hungry? Because at this point, where they're at day 27, they're 4 weeks without food. Yeah. 4 weeks without food is quite a bit.
I mean, they're all talking like they're starving too.
Yeah,
so.
And they look skinny.
Yeah. I don't know. It really, I think, would be a game time decision based on where you feel like you're at in the game at that point in time.
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of I mean, obviously Tony, Spencer, and Tosh all wait and save their money, and I think they all kind of know that they kind of need to have that advantage. Maybe Tony not so much, but I think he's starting to see that, hey, these guys can try to get me out once Spencer and Tosh are gone. So
yeah, it's it definitely makes, I could see it because Jeff's even reactions to it of you guys are just not gonna bid. We're gonna give out these. We gave away things for $20 and $10, and there was really no bidding wars ever in this one. And yeah, I would imagine this might have been the start of oh man, we got to mix this up. We got to add wrinkles, because I think it is season 30. A couple seasons from now, is they do letters from home, but everyone has to pay or something like that. And it's if you don't, then you'll have more, and then you can have the. I tried adding a wrinkle, and it was good and it was funny, but I could see why they maybe took a break from it for a while. But all in all, yeah. And then the way it plays out too with Tony and Spencer going to rocks, and talked about that bad luck a little earlier because I knew
Oh, I know.
like it's a game changing rock draw right there.
Hmm.
Like, and especially that like Spencer just goes home empty handed again, and
Yeah.
like he is a fighter, but man, he just
And I thought it was kind of stupid of Tosh to not put her money in too. And I know
yeah
she said she was like waiting to see if maybe he was going to offer something else.
yeah
But I feel like if you have that opportunity, you have to do it. I mean, then you have 2-on-1 chances, way better chances for them to get the advantage over Tony. I mean, that could have easily changed the course of the game if they had got that advantage. So,
100% because they were both on the bottom too, and like
hmm,
yeah, it worked, and Tony probably would have been Tony would have been fine even if he didn't if it
oh
would have
yeah.
went
I mean,
to
he still has it.
Spencer.
He has a super idol still.
Yeah. And yeah, this was one too. We do see it almost right after this, but Tony does go and find his third idol of the season, which is like, dude, yeah, that's pretty insane. And like
Hmm.
these weren't easy to find idols. I mean, the idea of like, yeah, look for these kind of monumental rocks or trees or whatever is a good idea. But this one, it even says go to the end of your beach, and it's like behind a bush by a tree, and
Hmm.
it's like you wouldn't have found this like on your own. So
Oh no.
having that advantage was such a game changer. Um, yeah, and we also see Spencer. He kind of throws a hail mary to Tony, outs Jeffra. Good move from
Hmm.
Spencer. You don't know if it's gonna work because Tony is just so evasive to some of that stuff, but
Yeah.
it did get him paranoid enough, and we see it pay off a little later. Um, I don't know why more hail marys aren't thrown like that.
Hmm.
Even if he's not telling the truth, luckily that is information he had. Um, yeah, and we also see like the other social part of this episode, which isn't always that interesting, especially if it doesn't play out as anything. But like Tony
Hmm.
just complaining about the ladies and or not helping out at camp and the crab issue, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like that usually isn't as much of a factor once you make the merge too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I get why they showed it, but
yeah.
at the same time, it wasn't like the best episode, but
No, yeah, and then
like a filler episode.
yeah, yeah, totally. And I mean, there is definitely a twist. It did not feel like who went home was going to go home,
Hmm.
or even makes the most sense. So the immunity challenge is next, and yeah, dude, pretty crazy rope work out there. Probably pulling up that
Yeah.
sand, and then I like a finesse ending, like
Hmm.
like usually they have the
Those ones
ones
are fun.
where it's like, yeah, they're like balancing things or whatever.
Hmm.
I think that is a pretty level playing field for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Of like, this is gonna who's patient, who's got touch,
Hmm.
and Wu almost like I was like, oh wait, does Wu win this? This looks like a lot closer than whatever. But dude, Tosh just again
Challenge beast, bro.
three three.
Hmm.
That is yeah, like she technically, I mean, yeah, the best challenge player of the season by far.
Hmm. For sure.
And that's super impressive, and people see that as a threat, and just yeah, as jury members, keep watching Tosh walk in with the necklace on, man. That is points. So and then crazy, and I kind of didn't remember that she had
Yeah, I forgot that too.
this run.
Like you think if there would have been a challenge beast, it would have came from the Braun tribe,
Right.
and I feel like maybe like if it would have been a brain member, it would have been because of like puzzles. But I mean, she's not even winning these on puzzles; she's just
Yeah.
winning them on dominance.
Yeah, dominance for sure. Um, but yeah, she wins, which kind of sets up and feels like all right. Well, then it's Spencer because them two they were on the bottom last time, and
Hmm.
they've been gunning for Spencer. But yeah, it's like uh, Tony says once again it's time to change the game, and like this again is what makes Survivor amazing is when we don't get just the obvious vote when it
Hmm.
feels like we should or it feels like it's smart, but we do get a blind side and we do get facial reactions that are unreal
Yeah,
because yeah, ultimately Tony wants to sway and go over for to get Jeffra out because he was worried about
and I
a
mean,
female alliance, which is good.
and great. It was a great job by Tosh to like spend all her time with the girls in the water too,
Yeah.
putting that doubt in Tony's mind that hey, maybe these girls are trying to work together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if her intentions were to make him think that. I know she said that, but I don't know if her intentions were to try to work with the girls,
Yeah.
but her intentions worked out because
Yeah, it's so funny too because we see them spend like all this time together. Then later during like reunion shows or whatever, or even during like final tribal when the jury's talking, they're always like, you've told me stories about your daughter, and you've told me like stories about your, and so like I wonder how much of the social game of like really getting to know someone or taking
yeah.
interest in someone is trying to get them on their side. And Tasha's just being a good person to hang out with in the water or whatnot, and then yeah, pitching, floating out ideas, and like
Hmm.
it is dangerous. And I would be probably as paranoid as Tony is, and his paranoia, of course, always works out for him, at least in this season.
It's funny because I don't think I would be as paranoid as him. He has two idols, and one of them he can play after the votes are read.
Right? Yeah, yeah. And we're down to 7 too.
Yeah,
I always wondered too, like, because I don't know if there could ever be a punishment for like you didn't use your idol by 5 or something, which usually they just use them anyway. But like,
yeah.
I don't know, some sort of consequence there, like to where you have to play it, or if you play it for someone else, like because that's always more of a boss move anyway, that you kind of predicted where the votes were going or you figured it out.
Maybe like you could play it 1 week longer if you play it for somebody else instead of
Right. Yes.
yourself.
Yes. Or yeah,
Yeah,
you
that'd
get
be
it
cool.
back or something like that.
Hmm.
That'd be nuts. But yeah, dude, he he thinks about Jeffra, and Jeffra makes the most sense because yeah, she has been the most flippy floppy. Like Spencer
Hmm.
didn't have to lie to say that Jeffra, wanted out of that kind of situation. But a couple things happen is Tony obviously goes to Woo with the plan, and then Woo is just in, you know, like
Who just
another.
goes along with anything, man.
Exactly, exactly. It's so, and he's just like, oh wow, interesting. And I don't know, it made me mad too when they all like Tony gets the clue and they're all like, yeah, Tony, good. I'm like, dude, you are supposed to be no, you're supposed to be mad that someone has
Yeah.
that, or that should be the biggest target on their back that they have that now. I don't know. That's again, who you play with is everything too,
For sure.
and yeah, so we get to the vote, and I think yes, he brings Woo in. Tony brings Woo in, and then doesn't tell the ladies, which is such a baller move too. And
Hmm.
for it to go 4-3, work out perfect. Um, at Tribal, was there anything else at Tribal that was interesting or
Spencer said some good stuff. Just the way he, I feel like, is able to talk and answer Jeff's questions. I feel like his like I don't have him as my stock up for the week, but I think it has put his stock up a little bit
yeah?
as just an overall great Survivor player.
Yes. Yeah, dude, he's got a big moment. Yeah, he's got a couple big moments still coming. And like I
Hmm.
highlighted it last week too, where it was like, dude, he's telling everyone what's going on. He's
Yeah.
our portal into that game. And yeah, he's great at talking, and
Oh,
he's
it
such a
was
young
he says like if me and Tosh go home and then you go home fourth, you missed your opportunity. Like if
hmm
you only get certain opportunities and then the window closes, like the window could be closing tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, everything he said was just awesome in
Yeah.
that final or in that tribal council.
Yeah, you just got to get people rattled, and then yeah,
Hmm.
ultimately, poor little Jeffra. She was a fun, southern character. And but a pretty big note is that is the last beauty. It is 3 brain,
Yeah.
3 brawn. And the 3 brains that were depleted at the beginning of the season are
How about
all
them,
still
man?
here. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the pretty insane. And yeah, this is a good final 6 now too. Like I feel like with Jeffra out, it's like all right, all 6 of these characters are kind of interesting.
Hmm.
But yeah. Oh, it's funny, man. Yeah, Survivor posting that clip. Because I'm like, yeah, I think that's next week or 2 weeks from now. It'll be good. All right, so let's go stock up, stock down. Who did you have stock up?
Stock up, I went Tony again. I
Yeah,
think finding another idol. I
yeah,
mean, he almost guarantees himself into like the final four.
yeah.
So it's got to be Tony.
Yeah, and it again in any other season, it's like, dude, Tosh was on the right side of the vote. Her stock, I
Hmm.
would say her stock is up too, but yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
when you get an idol and when you orchestrate a blind side like that, um, it has to be Tony. And so I
Hmm.
agree. But yeah, it's one where it's like, dang, Tosh, any other episode or any other season, you winning your third, and I mean, she also I guess had a setback, but not getting anything at the auction, which is
Hmm.
not a great sign for her. Stock down
$500.
$500. Yeah, do they get to keep that? That's a good question.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because it is just cash. I always thought that was funny. They'd
Yeah.
use like Cougar Cash or something like that, or whatever. Yeah, Monopoly money. Jeff Bucks, Dwight Schrute Bucks,
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Schrute Bucks.
Jeff Bucks.
Yeah, I didn't stock down. I think it's Spencer yet again.
Ooh.
For me because he pushed his chips in. He had to do what he had to do with the auction, but that didn't really work out. I was
Hmm.
helpful that he got like kind of spared an extra week, but I think that's it. If I
Yeah.
if I'm just watching where we're at right now and how it's shaping out, like Cass is pretty protected. Woo and Trish, it doesn't seem like there are many cracks that Spencer could infiltrate unless he wins immunity.
It's kind of crazy that Tony can just like kind of flop to the other side for a vote and then come right back, and they just welcome him back in with open arms.
100%, yeah. And I will. I mean, it's if we could probably predict the next episode, which we have seen it before a long time ago. We're probably going to start out on the beach, and Tony is going to make everyone feel better about why he did that, and
Yeah.
it's going to be great. But will they buy it or will they get smart? It's hard to say. Who'd you have stock down?
I went with Trish just because
Mm,
I feel like wrong side of the vote. I mean, she really hasn't made
yeah,
any moves
anything.
whatsoever. So I
Yeah,
feel like even if she gets to the end at this point, I feel like she has zero shot to win.
right. She is. Yeah, she's probably the goat of the situation here.
Hmm. Oh
If
yeah,
we're going to
bring her
final,
along. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You don't. She doesn't need to do fire making, or you put her. Yeah,
Hmm.
whatever. But yeah, I agree. I see that. I see that vision because yeah, she's not winning. She wasn't winning reward challenges either.
No.
Like, yeah, that's one thing that Tony really doesn't have too, though, is he doesn't have challenge. But I always think that challenges should hold more weight, but they don't ever use them enough in
Hmm.
Final Tribal to be like, dude, look, I
Yeah.
like because I feel like fans at home we love the Aussies and the Joes and the challenge beasts like who were
Hmm.
just so awesome and who could run the table. JT was
And I think
just
if
epic.
you're a challenge beast and you can make it to the end, that's just another. I mean,
Yeah,
because everyone tries to get the challenge beast out. So
yeah,
if you can make it to the end as a challenge beast, I mean, I don't know how you don't win.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, if it is like if we're to see this final six play out and it's like Tosh and Tony at the end, like obviously there's
Uh,
different way to get there, but Tosh could have an argument of like, dude, look, I survived. I I won
mhm.
challenges when like maybe I shouldn't. People wouldn't have predicted that I would, and yeah, like
Yeah.
she'd be one that like yeah, you can't have her at the end, but Trish, yeah, that's easy. Woo, likable. Yeah, I don't know. But that's a good pick. I like Trish. All right,
Mhm.
Survivor press conference. You got a question for Jeff or for the castaways?
My question this week is for Cass, and I would ask her if she feels she's gotten complacent ever since she made that big flip.
Mm,
Because I feel like she kind of dominated a couple episodes, and then it's like we haven't heard much from her almost at all.
yeah, yeah. She's kind of just been hiding behind Tony for, which
Hmm.
is yeah. I didn't remember that either. I remember some, and maybe it's coming, but like I remember some sass from Cassie.
She even she even says like when they're on the beach, like it's gonna be nice to have like a relaxing like night, and not have to like scramble and everything. And
Yeah,
little did she know that they were plotting behind her back.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, yeah, if she got to take a great deal and flip over at the right time, and like it really doesn't feel like it is Brain versus Braun right now. Like it does feel
Hmm.
pretty up in the air, and there are some initial Brawns and Brains who are stuck together from the jump, but because Cass is, yeah, she's not loyal to the Brains the way maybe even the Brawns
Hmm.
are. So, yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. Yeah, and just watching yourself too. I know each person has a different answer with what it feels like to watch themselves, but
Hmm.
that's got to be yeah, especially watching this Tony season where he's just running the table. My Survivor press conference question is for Jeff, and I know that before the D season, like fans were clamoring for the auction to come back. It had been a while, and it was like you bring back the auction. And Jeff
Hmm.
was very clear, on podcasts and whatnot, that you know what, it just doesn't work anymore. Like everyone is playing too hard, and no one does want a burger because Maybe it is shorter. It's 26 days. And yeah, like food, it's like, oh, in a week we'll be home, you know.
Maybe they need to say something like, "Hey, like no advantage whatsoever is going to be
Right.
like played."
100%.
Yeah.
Or dude, I was thinking that like, hey, there is an advantage in one of these things, but it's like hidden. Like like it could be in your
Mm,
napkin. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you picked it randomly. But like you
yeah,
so
that's
so
fair.
so bid on anything and everything because and yeah, maybe check your plate and
I like
stuff
that.
and see if you can be sneaky or whatever.
Hmm.
Um yeah, I think that could be a move too. That way there is an advantage, but like you will not know it's there.
I like that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that way, because then someone could sneakily get it, or yeah, but then everyone's looking at each other. I don't know. There's got to be a
It's in the
solution
shower.
there.
It's written in the shower door when
Yes,
they're
yes,
taking a
yeah, yeah,
shower.
yeah, yeah, totally. But yeah, that would be my question: is what is the thing that like now people bring up that annoys him? That is like, dude, people, and maybe it is the 39 days, or
It's got to be between like
villains,
that, the
villains,
tribes, or like the come on in guys. I bet that still gets brought up a
that
lot.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wonder which one annoys him the most because which ones he's like, no, we're not doing it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I guess another side of that coin is what's his most embarrassing decision he made on the show, whether it is like,
Ooh.
you know, like I've heard him talked about Ghost Island that like, oh, he thought like that
Oh.
was gonna be such a hit, and it just was not. And I actually
Yeah.
think he feels bad about Extinction, but I don't think Extinction's all that bad. I think it just got old.
No.
I think
Yeah.
we kept using it, and it was like, all right,
Hmm.
no, this could be once in a while thing. But yeah, that's my question for Jeff. What's annoying? I know he loves his fans. But yeah, and then let's rename the episode. It was "Chaos is My Friend," said by Mr. Spencer, which is a solid title. Solid title, but I think there are some better ones. What do you got?
I went with another Spencer quote. He says this in Tribal kind of when he's talking about making the moves and windows closing. He says, "You got to actually play the game," and he kind of makes almost I feel like a subtle like stab at Jeffra.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I went with "You got to play the game."
Yeah, I went with something he said. He sat Tosh down right after he talked to Tony, and he said, "You ready
Hmm.
for Survivor Miracle Part 2?" So Survivor Miracle Part 2, because
Okay.
I mean this was a twisted turn, a good blind
Hmm.
side, and Spencer should not have been kept around. Um,
Yeah.
but when you had two idols, and yeah, when you're Tony, and you got some great disciples, everything's okay.
Great
Um,
disciples. Yep.
all right, well, we're at the final six. I think that means we have like 3 episodes left. We're gonna
Me
keep
too.
rolling. Maybe 2. Is that what you said?
Because I feel like a lot of times don't they do like the final five is the last episode?
Yes, but this one doesn't end at final. Yeah,
Hmm.
this one ends a little
Oh, you're
differently.
right. Yeah.
This one
Yeah.
ends, and it ends very controversially in a way.
Yeah.
We'll
Yep.
get to it though, and I'm excited to get there. In between when we take breaks from college football, we will be on
Hey.
with Survivor. Thanks so much for tuning in.